Welcome, my galactic brothers and sisters of the universe. Appreciate you showing up. Welcome to Electrical Theology, Esoteric Life Coaching. I am your host, Charles. I've been doing esoteric work, studying all for about 45 years, from supernatural to paranormal, metaphysics, you name it, I've studied it. If not, it's just hidden from me, or I just haven't, it hasn't come across my path yet. But if it's out there, I've studied it. Am I an expert? No, I don't want to be an expert. What I want to do is just collect all the data I can and sort of just create a perception for my own reality. And through that reality, I find unique and fun things to share with other people, and that's what this whole video show is about. This is a show that shares esoteric knowledge for the purpose of enlightenment. What does enlightenment mean? It just means to bring light to the mind. And however we want to delve, we will be delving into many things over the last 50 videos. I've basically given a foundation. In the next few hundred videos, will be getting more and more detailed or more understanding about how the universe works and how to start establishing communications, not only with yourself, and that's what some of these beginning videos were, is about learning who you are, feeling who you are, and opening your heart and unfolding the moment, like we talked about. If you're new to this channel, and this may be a little unfamiliar with you, I would encourage you looking back at all those videos. And as well, for all those who are returning, if you will, definitely like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share this video with other people. And one, the algorithm loves it when you tickle them. It just brings more views to me, and when the more views, it helps my channel grow. And I will be internally grateful, cosmically, universally grateful to each and every one of you who right now click on that like button and leave a comment and share and subscribe. All right, guys, but let's get on this. Part of one of the core principles here is to take responsibility for your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. And the more you do that, the more you open up, the more you begin to release what has been holding you back, which again is just old thoughts, old beliefs. And what this channel is about opening your mind. And the more you open it, the more you gain access to do with this new information, if you will, to you, to do it with what you want in this world, right? As long as you take responsibility for it. The higher you go up in the vibrations of the universe, and we have for teaching purposes, we have our hierarchy or our energetic frequencies. The higher you go, or the more expanded you become, the more you open your mind, the more intense electricity through your body will be. Now, we want to get into continuing what we talked about the other day, which was gratitude. And I told you I would tell you about what happened when I began to have more gratitude in my life. And the more I focused on what true gratitude was, and if you haven't watched that last video about gratitude, watch that first one. You'll understand that when you finally realize what gratitude is, it's about trying to comprehend the best you can everything and all that has been and will continue to create you in this very unfolding moment, right? Think of all the particles, the blood, the science that we don't even know that holds this human shell together, and who were the components or the beings who constructed this body and is still maintaining it, right? It has its own autopilot, if you will. It knows when to do certain things. It has already programmed in instruments that when you got to go pee, it's going to tell you. It's going to bring an alarm or an indicator that says, hey, you need to go. Right? We don't need to even think about it or worry about it, but something got programmed into our system, and some programmer, some architect, some carpenter, whatever you want to call these people who built and are continuing to build this, or beings, light beings, divine beings. We have millions of names for them, guys. But ultimately, we don't really need to know their names. We just need to understand that there is a bigger picture at play that's keeping you together right now. And that's what we're basically calling gratitude. Now, the more you can sit and meditate on how you came to be and how you are, or as the example I used, the tomato the other day, of how many people it takes to bring that tomato to your plate. Yes, you can grow it yourself, but the example I use is that it was being grown on a big farm. But you get my point, is that there's a lot of things that go into creating something and maintaining it, right? If the tomato is weird for you, then look at your car. How many billions of parts are in that car? And all the things that keep that car running, from gas stations to the gas to the petroleum to the electricity, no matter where you get it from, to run your electric car. You can look at all the components it takes to run your car and that made your car. And you can spend literally hundreds of hours on each and every component that has made that car and is continually making that car run, right? So the universe has its operations, right? And the more we focus on gratitude, the more we open up to these operations, right? Operating ions. So we understand how the ions are operating. And so then we can go in there, now that we are responsible, now that we can participate and co-create responsibly, not only ourselves, but we can then create pathways or passages. And we'll talk about this more Monday. We create pathways, right? We become empaths, we become telepaths, right? Because we understand the path of the ions and the operations of those ions. And the more we operate under the construct of the ionic philosophy, if you will, again, it's not a right or wrong, it's just electrical. Your car is working on the electrical principles and mechanical principles, right? It's not religious, it's just mechanisms, and it's chemicals, and it's electricity, right? So you are biomechanical, chemical, and electrical. And we are part of the universe, which is also biomechanical, chemical, and electrical in their own ways. And they all work on unique frequencies because of the wavelength of which they're transmitting, or speed throughout the universe is happening, or how slow it's happening. So let me tell you a quick story here, is that the more I had opened up to gratitude, the more and more it opened me up to new realms. Or have you ever had a dream or a vision of a doorway that you couldn't open, or a veil you weren't allowed to go through? Somebody was there, a gatekeeper, if you will, and said, no, you don't have permission. Or they would say, hey, all right, what's the word? And you're like, I don't know. Well, they wouldn't let you through because you didn't have the word or the frequency or the right telepath, if you will. You weren't teleporting the right wavelengths, right? You weren't able to communicate on the same frequency, much like opening a computer door. If you don't have the code, you can't get in that door. And so the code basically is just aligning or putting your frequencies in a certain order, a responsible order, an unfolding moment. And most of all, the heart has to be open and undefended. So anyway, so as I became more grateful, then these doorways that for me for decades were closed began to open up. And each doorway or each veil, what I call veil, the veil opened me up to opportunities or possibilities, right? So I call this the veil of possibilities. And further on, the veil is just to get you through, sort of through the hallway. The hallway opens up to many doors and many mansions, or the mansion has many doors, as it said in the Bible. And so mansions are just man's ions, right? The secret's in plain sight. And so as you went through this hallway, through this mansion, if you will, and it's not really a physical mansion, it's a galactic or universal cosmic hallway or portal, or a port for unity, as they call it, or opportunity. And so this hallway became basically the realm of possibilities, and then the hallways of possibility of everything that you can possibly be. So it ended up, oddly enough, spelling out, or the acronym HOPE, which I'm not a component of modern day hope. We've talked about this, that it's more of a delusion that you're hoping something happens, but this is a cosmic hope, which is just, again, the hallways of possibility of everything, right? And you have access to everything because the thing came from the no thing, which means you have a direct access to the no thing, right? And where all things come out of. Right? And if that's confusing you a little bit because you're new, go back to some of the beginning videos of when I talk about this Shambhala hierarchy, God, and the 7 frequencies. But the veil is what I want you to just understand today. So what's behind the veil a lot of times we think is really secret. It's not. It's just you've had to have built up or collected enough ions by taking responsibility and extracting that ion from that experience you had and claim it as your own without blame or fault or guilt or shame. You just take in that experience and go, wow, this is what I gained from that. It was a shitty experience, but hey, I gained a lot of knowledge from it. So every experience we have, we need to make sure we extract what we gained, not lost from it. I don't want to lose weight. I want to gain slenderness, as I always say. I want to gain openness, not closeness, right? If that makes sense. I want to be more open. So the more gratitude I had, the more open I became because I meditated and pondered on everything that there is. And so what it did is it gained me access to the universal frequencies or the veils that allowed me to go through. And then oddly enough, it's weird because different gateways or doorways or portals, or what I'm calling a veil here. Veil is just live, an anagram for live, right? And if you're not doing it properly, then what we call evil, right? We can play with the word all day long, but it's the same 4 letters, but there's a certain frequency or code that then unlocks the hallway that you walk down, and then in the hallway, or if you open up one of these doors or rooms or realms, these realms, then it's almost like being out in outer space and you're on a bridge and you look down, and in the vastness you see all your thoughts that you've ever thought spinning sort of in a very slow tornado or slow cyclone, right? It's just going very slow, but you can see all the thoughts you've been focusing on, all the thoughts you thought, and all the thoughts you're thinking. And this is where all the thoughts are before they become real or into this physical realm. So I was shown the realm of possibilities, that there's all my thoughts. Is there anyone you want to focus on? And so you're able to get a big panoptic perspective of all your thoughts. And so you can better organize those thoughts if you're disoriented or you're having trouble right now. We have Pisces going into a full moon tonight, I think it is, or today, and then you have Mercury in retrograde tomorrow. We're in Saturn. There's a lot of energies, right? Just as if you were on a beach and the storm's coming in, but yet it's sunny, but yet there's a storm, the breeze kicks in. Right? There's a lot of things happening that will affect you. Now you can stand there and say, "No, I don't believe in the wind. I don't believe in the rain. I'm going to be fine." Right? It has no effect on me. Right? But as the storm come in, the lightning strikes, blowing sand up in your eyes. Waves are crashing in on you. Right? This is the same way, but there's galactic weather, if you will, or cosmic weather, but it's an energy form of weather. It eventually makes weather here on Earth and every other planet, but if you get my analogy here, is that you may not subscribe to the planets affecting us, but they do. The sun will burn your skin, the moon will cause your brain to go loopy, it affects tides, so everything has an impression upon us. And so when you're in a mindset that may be depressed or getting wonky, we'll just put it that way, then it's time to meditate, it's time to ponder, it's time to be grateful, it's time to kick in gratitude full force. When you do that, it loosens up the tightness you're having, the stress in your shoulders, your jaw, your muscles. By constantly bringing in gratitude, just higher vibrating frequency. And so when you're open up to it, it doesn't matter the words you're necessarily speaking, it's just that you're open to releasing the hold that your thoughts have on you right now. And so by releasing the thoughts, it actually expands and puts space in between the thoughts. And so you're able to see the forest for the tree, or however the saying goes. You can't see the forest for the trees, but if I'm in a helicopter and look down, I have a great view of all the trees and how they're all separate. But if you're in that forest, you're lost. That's right. But in this case, when you open up, and it opens up the veil, which is just a frequency that you align with, and it shows you an aspect that you're ready to see, which is your thoughts. Right? Not just on the earth-based realm, but in the cosmic, etheric, and astral realms, where you can see how the thoughts are forming right now, that you're thinking right now here on earth. You can see the formation, the forming of ions, beginning to collect and organize and become a blueprint. And you can see things that are ready to come into you, into this realm. But they're not here yet because you're not open, you're not unfolding the moment, because you're stressed, you're stuck, whatever this may be, feeling sorry for yourself. Right? But the more you are grateful, the more you're saying, open up universe, open up heart. And when you do, the doors open up, the veils open up. And then it opens you up to the realms of possibility. Right? It gives you a hallway where you can walk down and open up any of these doors or realms or portals and see another vast part of you. Right? Not just the physical stuff that's forming, that'll become in the physical realm, but it could be mental, spiritual stuff of you forming a planet. Right? Each and every one of you are out there forming a planet out there, right? Because of your thoughts. Can you imagine the planet you're creating right now is based off of the 5 main emotions you're having in your life? So is your planet inhabitable? Is it stormy? Right? You get the point. So by being able to open up to this realm of possibilities, right, I was able then to get a good view of where my thoughts are. And the more they make it to the top, the more they're about to make it into this realm. And then I have to then prepare a place for it, right? For energy to come through, for God to come through, for that to come through. That makes sense? We'll be talking about more of this and how to open up and specific steps that we can take. But this is a broad general term. And on Monday, like I said, we'll start a whole new path here. That Mondays will sort of be, I'll give a divine reading and some knowledge. And then Tuesday, we'll get into specific tools we can use that will help us. Right? Even though they're energy, we can turn them into any tool. Right? Electricity can turn a saw into a saw. It can turn a compressor, an air compressor, into a compressor, because the energy, the electricity, is what gives life to these tools. And so the electricity we can bring into any man-made tool, if you will, divine tool. We can call them tarot. We can call them bones. We can call them coins. We can call them I Ching. We can call it whatever. Right? These are just tools that we can use. But I'm going to teach you some of these tools that when the mind does get too scattered and it's hard to open up, then we're going to use these as a temporary divining tool. And divine is just die and vine. Die means two. It's a two-way communication to help you establish. Right? Can you imagine when you were a kid and you had to answer the phone for the first time? Were you scared? Did you stutter? Right? Or were you confident? Well, this is the same way we're going to be using these tools when you're not used to them. We're just going to open up these two-way communication tools. And who are we communicating with? Well, outside of us, your loved ones around you, galactic neighbors, right? My brothers and sisters in the universal realms, right? We have great conversations all the time, all right? Well, hopefully this was a good conversation for you today. It was a one-way conversation, but a universe conversation. And I look forward to seeing you next time. But definitely, if you were new and you stayed out through the whole video, I appreciate it. And again, I have internal gratitude for you and for each one of you right now for pushing that like button and commenting and sharing it. All right? And make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you again.